And I'm finally back again. Who would have guessed? Alright, as you may have noticed, there has been a transition in the works for the last couple weeks. I've decided to abandon my old YouTube channel since the channel's name had absolutely nothing to do with the show. I decided, hey, I'm going to try to get all my old subscribers over to my new show, if there are any still around that are still interested in watching. So this marks the beginning of the new videos, and the transition is now complete. You are now watching the Mr. Atheist Guy show. So I now have an official title. This is my new official YouTube channel that is devoted to atheism and skepticism and anything else that just happens to piss me off. And I've instituted Trippy-vision, so every time I move on the screen, you're going to see the screen get all screwed up, and then it'll settle back down and get back to regular. So, this is the first episode of the new shows, and the reason I decided to make this episode is recently I discovered something about my son's school. If you go back and look at some of my older videos, you'll see some of the religious proselytizing that me and my son have had to deal with going through his last school. Well, he changed school this year because he's a grade higher, and so now he's in a new school, and this new school does something even worse. Let me start the whole story. It's like any other day. I wake up, get my son to school on time, normal stuff. Well, it wasn't a normal day, because shortly after I get my son to school, I get a call from his counselor. Not his counselor, the nurse. And the nurse is telling me, hey, your son got a bloody nose, he's got blood all over his shirt, and we need you to bring up a new shirt if that's possible. Otherwise he'll be in a bloody shirt all day. So I jump up and I find a shirt and I get it ready and I drive up there, and I park my car in not the usual spot, because I'm just going to be right in and right out. So I parked my car in an unusual spot, and I'm walking towards the school, and as I'm nearing the door, I see a nice little stone bench over there. Just, oh, how nice, they got a little bench for people to sit on. And I didn't really think anything of it. So I go inside, give him a new shirt, blah 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 blah. Come back outside, and now I'm facing the other side of the bench. And oh, my camera just moved. And so now I'm facing another part of the bench. And I'm walking outside, and I can see there's writing on the bench. Oh, hey, I didn't know there was writing on the bench. And so I go over to it, and I can just barely make out the first word. And the very first word that I can make out is Jesus. And I'm thinking, no, there's no fucking way that's Jesus on a fucking public school bench. There's just no fucking way. That's illegal. Let me just try to... Wow, look at the special effects on that son of a bitch when I move the camera. Okay. Let's hope that stays. So anyways, so I get closer to the bench, and sure enough, first words on there is Jesus. And across the bench, the part where you sit on the front of it, it says, Jesus said, something about the children going to heaven, blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. So I leave, and I'm like, holy crap, I can't believe I just saw this blatant violation to the fucking First Amendment of the Constitution. The Establishment Clause. The thing that was so revolutionary about our country. The fact that we weren't going to be based on any particular religion. The whole reason for people coming over here to get away from religious persecution. The whole thing that made our country better and different from all the other countries in the world. Yeah. The Establishment Clause, that one, the First Amendment that says we can't establish religion, it was being violated right fucking there in front of me, and I couldn't fucking believe it. And so what I did later was I decided, hey, I need to get pictures of this shit, you know, for nothing else, just to have documentation of this bullshit. And so I go up there on a weekend that my wife has my kid, so, you know, I'm not bringing my kid up to the school to take pictures and potentially have, you know, some person come out of the school and start harassing us. So I wait until he goes with his mom every 2 weeks. So he's over there for the next 2 days, and he goes over there for about 4 days a month. So during them 2 days, I was like, all right, recon mission. And I drive up to the school in the middle of the day when no one's there, and I take pictures of this little bench. And as I'm taking pictures, I notice there's other writing. Now, up till now, this is just open and shut case, violation of the Constitution, this thing needs to go. Well, now another layer, because as I'm taking pictures of the monument, I notice that there's more writing over to the side. See, this bench is very uniquely designed. I'm going to draw a quick picture so that you can kind of understand how this bench works. Okay. And then we got the Jesus writing right here, and then we got the other writing right here. Okay, this is what the bench looks like. See that? There's writing on the part where you sit, and then there's this big stone column part that, god damn, my camera moved again. Then there's the big stone column part on the other side, on the left. I'm hoping it's your left. And then it has other writing. And on that particular writing, it said this: in memory of, you know, some kid's name. And then it had dates for the birth and death of someone. And this kid was obviously, like, according to the dates, he was like 5 or 6 years old. So this blatant violation of the Constitution has other stuff behind it. Now it's not just a monument to Jesus, it's a monument to this dead kid. So any attempt to get this Jesus monument taken down is going to be perceived as an attack against this dead kid, which I have nothing fucking against. I'm sorry that the kid's dead. In fact, I'd even go so far as to say, if your fucking God's real, why did he allow a fucking 6-year-old to die in the first place? You know, fuck him. I've had enough of these fucking people claiming that people claiming that no matter what God does, he has a reason and it's good and we should just accept that he knows what he's doing and it's good. Bullshit. He fucking lets kids die. If you listen to the non-profits or the Atheist Experience lately, I'm not sure which one he's on, but they had a guest on recently talking about, you know, the Holocaust of the children. Why has God allowed half the children throughout history to die? He's just, you know, if he really is in control, he's a cocksucker. There's no other way around it. He's a fucking evil jerk. But so anyways, I get the pictures and I write a letter to the atheist community of Austin to try and get their opinion on, you know, obviously this Jesus thing should be taken down, but at the same time, as soon as we attack that, we're the evil atheists for you know, attacking this poor dead child, which is not our intention at all. In fact, I'd really like a compromise where all we'd have to do is like grind off the little quote from Jesus. Leave the bench intact, leave the little monument part of the bench intact with the kid's name and date and you know, birth and date of deceased. I don't know what you call it, but leave that. Get rid of the Jesus stuff. If we could just grind off the quote from Jesus on the front of the bench, or just remove the entire, just Just remove the bench part and just leave the stone column standing with the... Just leave the fucking monument there with the kid's name on it and get rid of the bench. There are simple solutions, but there won't fucking be one, because they're going to be like, oh, they want us to take it down and they're against Jesus and God, and this country was founded on Christian principles and blah, 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 which is bullshit, because if you look into history, all of the great founding fathers that we reference when we're talking about the founding fathers, yeah, they were deists, they weren't fucking Christian, they were getting away from a Christian society, and they knew the dangers of making any society officially religious. That was the whole point in starting America, was so they didn't have to deal with that shit. But anyways, so keep in mind, my son has a bloody nose, which is unusual. I had to park my car in an unusual spot, which, you know, made it to where I saw this monument, which is all very unusual. I don't usually walk into the school. I don't usually park my car there. My son usually don't have bloody noses. But, you know, there it is. And Aaron Ra, I love his videos. If you don't know about Aaron Ra, go look up Aaron Ra, or Aaron Ra. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right or not. Aaron Ra. A-R-O-N-R-A. Go look up his YouTube video. He has great YouTube videos. And he's set this YouTube atheism stuff on fire. But he has a little analogy about how God, it doesn't start off with God, but you lose your keys. And your lost keys make it so you're late to work, and while you're late to work, someone calls. And all this is unusual. And so then the call ends up being a contest, and you end up knowing the answer to the contest question because you would just happen to have been told that piece of information earlier. And so then you go on this trip and you meet that special someone, and you fall in love and you get married and you have kids together, and so God has orchestrated all this so that you can meet that special someone, because he has a plan for everybody. So his thing is, did God hide your car keys? Is God that small and pathetic that he had that his mechanism for finding you one true love was to hide your car keys? Now, if we're going to apply this analogy to my situation, then keep in mind, the bloody nose is unusual, parking in an unusual spot, walking in past the bench is unusual, all this stuff is unusual. Oh, and by the way, the fact that, forget it. But it's all unusual. So now we go to the part where, if we're going to say that God is in control of everything and controlling everything, then I have one question. Did God give my son a bloody nose? Because that's what we're left with. If God is... And obviously God wanted me to see this violation of the Constitution, because he set all this stuff up specifically for me to see this violation and bring it up. So that's, you know, did God give my son a bloody nose? And like I said, when I first saw this monument, I'd seen the pamphlets, and I knew that they were on borderline breaking the law. But when I saw this, I just couldn't fucking believe it. It just blew my... I was like, okay, there it is, blatant violation. But I say I couldn't believe it, but it was sitting right there in front of me, and I could see it, and I could read it and study it. So since, you know, evidence has, you know, influence on me, I quickly became a believer that this was in fact real and sitting right there in front of me. I'm not like a fucking Christian where the evidence is staring me right in the fucking face, and I'm like, no, that can't be a monument to, you know, that, because, you know, and come up with some fucking platitude. But as I can see, the new extended 15-minute time limit is almost up. So I actually plan on making another video. My son is gone today and tomorrow. So I got 2 whole days where I don't have to be a parent. So I might actually decide to go ahead and make another video tomorrow. But take it easy. I gotta get going. Thanks for tuning in, and leave comments. The only feedback I've gotten so far is from people I've personally shown the videos to. So leave feedback and pimp my shit to anyone you think will enjoy it. See you later.